Arch Telecom, a company often associated with murky dealings and questionable business practices, has earned a reputation that precedes it. Operating in the shadows of the telecommunications industry, Arch Telecom is known not just for providing wireless services, but for the controversy that follows it. Recent reports of aggressive sales tactics, misleading verbal agreements, and poor customer service have marred its public image, making it a company that many consumers have learned to approach with caution or flat out do not trust at all. This is the story of Arch Telecom, a company where profit seemingly takes precedence over ethics and customer satisfaction is an afterthought. Arch Telecom is a third-party retailer that partners with major wireless carriers in the United States, in this case T-Mobile, to operate retail stores and kiosks. The company handles sales of mobile phones, accessories, and wireless plans, often employing sales teams that work directly in these carrier-branded locations. I first want to start with some lingo that'll make understanding the rest of this a little easier. PBTS, or Premium Beyond the Smartphone, is a service on any tablet, smartwatch, security camera, hotspot, or home internet. Money calls are when employees are expected to call higher-ups when there is a customer's account open with potential of including PBTS, or Premium Beyond the Smartphone, into their accounts. Boxes refer to the sales of any products or services connected to T-Mobile's network. A naked upgrade is a term created by senior management at Arch to describe upgrading a customer's phone and adding no premium beyond the smartphone. Finally, rate plans refer to the monthly recurring charges associated with a customer's account. Hundreds of ex-employees have advised people looking to apply not to. Reviews from Indeed show former employees detailing their experiences working for shady upper management, expressing their discontentment with being forced to bundle PBTS, or Premium Beyond the Smartphone, onto customers' account without them knowing. This is heavily encouraged and pressured onto employees if they want to earn serious money. For example, if a customer comes in wanting to upgrade their phone to a more modern one, it's expected that you turn that one box sale into a 3-box sale by adding the aforementioned Premium Beyond the Smartphone services. If you do not follow their sales process and convince the customer to agree to get these add-ons, then that one-box sale is viewed as a naked upgrade and is vehemently condemned by the company. If they see you've reported a naked upgrade, the higher-ups will reprimand you. Management will demand that you make these money calls in which you contact your district manager, showcase the customer's bill, whether it be via FaceTime or sending copies of the customer's bill to these managers so that they can maximize on the potential client. For example, let's say we have a customer in the store named Brian. Brian comes into the store with the sole intention of upgrading his phone. He comes in and the representative pulls up his account and sees that they have 2 phones on the account at $160 flat. The representative at this point would then say, okay, we appear to have some options for you for a great deal on a new phone. At this time, the representative would contact the district manager, typically away from the customer, to discuss the many options available to the customer. The district manager would then utilize T-Mobile's promotional sheet and realize there's a promotion to add 2 lines to the account along with Premium Beyond the Smartphone services, which would make the customer's bill $140. The district manager directs the representative to run that play. So when Brian, the customer, hears this initial offer, his reaction is that it sounds too good to be true. His bill goes down, he gets 2 tablets and a new phone. It seems like a steal. However, the representative is expected to leave out the fact that these benefits are only helping the representative and the company and is acting with little interest to Brian's initial request of simply upgrading his phone. If it seems confusing how this all works, it's because it's meant to be confusing. There are obviously many rate plans, so to keep things simple, I'll break it down into just 2 rate plans, basic and premium. The basic plan is a lower tier plan. They work fine for the most part, but the downside is that they offer very little in trade-in values for phones, and typically have limited data to a point, and tend to be on the more affordable side. The premium plan offers high trade-in value, truly unlimited data, hotspot, the bells and whistles, and obviously goes for a more premium price. If a customer is paying $160 for 2 phone lines, it is fair to assume it is a premium rate plan. So, how is a customer getting 2 extra phone lines and 2 tablets at such a competitive price? The answer is simple. We rate the plan down to something that T-Mobile calls their 4-line offer, which is typically reserved for family accounts where each voice line is discounted to $25 per line, making it a very affordable option for families at just $100 for 4 phone lines. Then, the tablets are serviced at $20 each line, so when the quote is presented to the customer, many details of this transaction are left out, such as the fact that the customer is being moved to a lower tier plan, often worse than what they already have, to make room for the tablets which are represented as being free, or on us by T-Mobile. But In reality, the customer is paying full price for the service they may not want, although the tablets themselves is free. Then by upgrading the customer's device for about $15 a month for 2 years, a single sale has been transformed into 5 sales, 1 box into 5 boxes, generating additional revenue for both the representative and the company. So, can they refuse these items? Typically, the customer can decline these items, but some representatives are encouraged by management to claim the price will not change regardless of the tablets or whatever other premium beyond their smartphone services offered. But this is untrue. This is only communicated so that the representative can still activate the lines of service without the customer knowing and withhold the invoice so the customer is never the wiser, all in an attempt to increase revenue for the company. An article released by T-Mobile Report adds credence to these claims, with Reddit users reporting that they receive texts from managers to add hotspots automatically to every quote given. Others claim management directs representatives to automatically calculate tax for screen protectors and cases as included, and then put those accessories onto the bill and have the customer pay them off over the course of a few months without the customer's knowledge. Representatives are also encouraged to add protection, which is typically $18 to customers' accounts without their consent.
I also thought this was worth mentioning that as I started reading this whole Reddit thread, I noticed that it's about 99% of people agree that these guys are up to no good. But something that I found to be really interesting is despite everybody, basically co-signing and saying I was lucky to escape, it's terrible. I was a store manager, or I knew a store manager that had like $20,000 in chargebacks. Look right here, and the person's like, "Oh, I think I know who you're talking about." And mind you, these are all pretty close together. This is like recent enough. And it's interesting because obviously everyone's like pretty much co-signing what's going on, because this is an actual problem. Like, we were taught to do like some pretty suspicious thing, and the biggest justification for it was, well, they agreed to the price. And for a while I was like, well, I guess maybe that makes sense. But when you have people coming saying, hey, like, I didn't know this was here and stuff like that, and these are good people. This job kind of trains you in a way to hate people who come in who aren't buying anything or who aren't looking to spend any money, and that really sucks, because you have times where you're just like, oh, this this stupid old lady's here because her phone doesn't work. But it's also like, she thinks that this is how that works. She thinks that you guys are like tech support or whatever, like, it's a phone store, like, and it sucks because like you dehumanize people a lot at that place. And something that I noticed while scrolling through this was that all the way toward the bottom, the original poster actually gets into some drama, I guess, with the original, or with one of the employees. Mind you, everyone's talking about how this whole like shady business dealings is going on type of thing. And so this person would be representing Arch, assuming to, debunk and address everything. But they do kind of what all salespeople do and just start blaming. This must be a sales manager, because like they go straight to blaming poor performances for our being disgruntled, which actually sometimes is true. Sometimes people will be bad at selling jobs. I've worked at like one other sales job after graduating from college. Sometimes people will say, oh, I can't do it because, oh, they said this or they said this. It's like, well, you just didn't know how to navigate the conversation. That's far different than being told to quote a customer with this included and then say, oh, we're giving you a gift, here you go. Very shady. And I am disgusted and embarrassed with myself. Don't worry, I feel that. But this isn't really about me though, right? Like, it's much bigger, because actual people are being affected, not just one like shitty person. And so here, look. So first, sales is a unique and dynamic field that requires a specific mindset and a strong commitment. When you sign up for a sales position, you agree to hit certain metrics and be held accountable for your performance. It's a commission-based role, meaning your paycheck is directly tied to how well you sell. This setup can be incredibly rewarding if you're dedicated and driven. So I'm going to save us some time. These next three mean kind of nothing. It's just BS. But they say, Spreading false or misleading information isn't a game. It can damage reputations, impact future job prospects, and affect mental health. Our company operates with integrity and clear expectations. We work in a challenging but rewarding field where accountability and performance are key. This is insane to say that their mental health is being hurt or potentially being hurt, and spreading misinformation, which is interesting because these are all testimonials, like people just recounting their own experiences, which is funny. But and then they get a little bit personal. They say, I'm sorry to hear that some of you had negative experiences with Arch. It's unfortunate when things don't work out as expected. That said, I encourage you to take some time for self-reflection to understand the root causes of these issues. Sales is a demanding field that requires accountability and resilience, and sometimes the challenges we face can be more personal than we realize. So kind of just immediately deflecting blame, which I really do believe that this is a manager. They're like a higher up. Honestly, is it the VP? Could it be the president? I mean, who knows? I'm not saying it's anybody, but I don't know. I mean, they represent Arch clearly, so. This person obviously responds. This is the person from earlier in the post that actually agreed with one of the. I mean, he said this a lot. He's been talking quite a bit in here. Look, he's pretty active in here. He says he wants to know if they're even talking about the same person, because this guy referenced one of the district managers who ended up having like $20,000 in chargebacks or something crazy like that, which is nuts, by the way. $20,000 in chargebacks for a store is insane. Obviously, shady shit's going on. So that's how this person retaliates a little bit. Then the original poster responds in response, because initially the employee had responded to obviously the original poster. So they respond saying basically how this original post didn't have anything to do with their concerns at all, basically. And so they say, I'll follow up one more time about this, which is not true, because they followed up again and again, so they lied. Par for the course, I guess. No, but seriously, so they say, I'll follow up one more time on this. I'm sorry you're not cut out for sales, and that you have taken it so personally that you decided to hide behind a phone and falsely accuse an entire company. I'm sorry your life is so miserable that you have stooped so low to try to blame an entire organization for your wrongdoings and lack of accountability. Maybe working at McDonald's would be a more fitting career path for you. I wish you the best in your future endeavors, and I truly hope you find peace. Wow, this is intense, because yeah, I mean, this is who you have representing your company, right? Is that how is it? I wonder if they take pride in knowing that they're, and like I'm saying, I'm assuming that it's maybe a manager. I'm assuming it could be like a higher up, because okay, which regular like representative would have this much passion? So you can only assume it's someone higher up, which is interesting as well. I personally work under the same people you're referring to and have for years. So under the same people you're referring to, under the, he's referring to, the original post is referring to the whole company. So like where does he or she lie in this hierarchy here for the company? But I have never had to risk my integrity to get my metrics where they need to be. I have been able to speak freely on my feelings within this company and have been taken seriously because of the respectful way I approach them. Things are not perfect and never will be. However, working for a company where our voices are heard is comforting, and maybe if you took the proper steps to address your concerns, you wouldn't be sitting on your butt at home with nothing better to do. Instead, you sat silent in the faces and basically yeah, it kind of cooks them at the end right there. Says a lot about your character. That's embarrassing for you. Someone that represents Arch is speaking like that. I think that's crazy. But then they follow up again, because remember they said they lied here. So follow up one more time, but they followed up twice. They said, did you or did you not agree to hitting the metrics you were claiming are too hard to hit? Why, when the goals were set, did you not speak up then? Every sales position in the country has exactly the same flow. There are goals to hit and there are promotions we push in order to hit them. If you had to scam your customers in order to get them, obviously stated, not cut out for sales. People like you are the problem. Arch has never ever encouraged us to scam anyone. Find another job that makes you happy and leave Reddit alone. T-Mobile sets Arch's goals. They don't pull them out of nowhere. You are so informed and very misled. So, also some more implications up here that they have a little bit of, like, they know what's going on in the like deeper corporate side of this whole ordeal. They understand like who sets whose goals, you know, because although Arch is T-Mobile's not necessarily doing anything to try and stop this. I mean, it's getting the money, and as far as I'm aware, Arch is actually like one of the main people to do that. Because if you know there's a couple bad apples who are doing stuff, I mean, I feel like you would take drastic measures. But things continue like normal every day. Maybe, who knows? But what's interesting is that I checked out this person's page. That's what they posted, like the furthest back that I could go, because it is like a throwaway anonymous Reddit account. And what I think they're a girl, personally. That's just what I think, because in their comments here, if you scroll down to like the last thing that they commented on, it's this video of a woman talking about whatever the case may be. I didn't watch the video. I don't care. It's also TikTok gossip, which I don't know how many guys would be on TikTok gossip, but and then they say, "I'm love and light until a bitch tests me," which again, I don't think a guy would speak that way. So if I were to assume this anonymous poster who is trying to silence the original poster is likely a female, and I say that they're trying to silence them because this article came out, which I thought was interesting, 26 days ago, so about a month after their original post. They say, one of Arch Telecom's very high up leaders decided to contact me to discuss the situation, which is exactly what I wanted. I thought initially I was actually talking to a good person, but luckily with my experience, could see right through it. It was a backhanded attempt to have me remove the information. Funniest thing is, they kept mentioning, well, I can't tell you what to do because it's freedom of speech. I have my line recorded, so I have to be careful about that, but when I was younger, I burned some bridges. I regretted later in my career, blah blah blah. I'm not an idiot, and how dare you treat me as one. I know why you called, not because of your genuine concern for me or the situation. You called to play damage control because I shared my situation here and people are speaking up about leadership. If it's so false, why are there 98% of comments in agreement with confirmations and even name drops in several other posts literally regarding the same thing from other former and current employees? Guess what? If you pray for the rain, you gotta deal with the mud too. From leadership with their toxic behaviors and HR with their generic answers, lack of effort, and disclosure of confidential information, it comes to no surprise your company's rating to work is low, basically. Jesus, fucking so wordy with these goddamn. I've worked wireless at different carriers and retailers for years. Never did I experience even remotely close to this amount of stress and such a toxic culture anywhere else, including Walmart, which is Jesus. I feel like that's saying a lot. I've heard some horror stories from Walmart. Your leadership will love you when you're up and absolutely dog you when you're down. In all my years, I'd never gotten disrespected the way I did under my most recent leadership. In regards to burning bridges, I would never want to work at Arch again, nor work for anyone that comes from this group of higher up leaderships. So, to see here, it looks like another user, another anonymous user on this Reddit post that this is actually the follow-up of Arch attempting to have them remove their original post. This Reddit user looks like he got into a back and forth with someone else, I guess, who represents the company as well. This time, this person attempts to go into more detail and describe kind of like I guess he tried more to debunk everything, but I currently work for the company mentioned and have worked for them for a long time. Yes, you have made some valid points that honestly occur in and around almost every goal-driven sales position. But one thing I can say is that this isn't a company-wide issue. From my experience, I have seen exactly what you are talking about, but I've also seen every instance of that nipped in the butt as quick as possible. For instance, we had a DM that was threatening job security and the overall integrity of the company by doing the things you brought to light. I ended up leaving during that time because I refused to sell without integrity. It just goes against my moral as a rep and as a person. It's that okay. That DM was discovered and fired within 2 months. In my district, it is important that we break down and itemize every single product before we sell it to the customer. So I'm sorry you're in a district that doesn't regulate that better, but I know for a fact that going to HR often solves a lot of these issues. It's funny because I've heard from reports that HR doesn't work, but I don't have any like direct proof of that. I've just heard people say that because any third-party HR department works directly with T-Mobile's corporate, so any complaint that you bring will go straight up to corporate. Now to address the blatant lies, what you said about the chargebacks is wildly inaccurate. This stuff I can't really substantiate because I don't know the numbers that they're throwing around. It would be the burden of proof would be onto the other guy. But I do want to just use this mostly just to not counter debunk all the claims, because like I wouldn't exactly obviously know. I'm just speaking from testimonials and personal experience. But what I think is interesting is that this person gets a little aggressive, and I'll show you that in a second as well. And you know what? Maybe it's true that somewhere in some districts it's a lot better ran, but I can't imagine so. But again, like I said, I couldn't speak to something that I haven't directly seen or experienced. So. They say I'm a lowly M3. Never did I say my district was perfect, but I can assure you I've dealt with every instance of this, and I have a lot of stories. At the end of the day, that stuff gets nipped in the bud fairly quickly around here. I worked in a lot of sales jobs. Some's a lot worse than you were describing. I don't know what ME3 means, but then they said that they've been a regional assistant manager and a regional store manager as well. So they have like a lot of experience under their belt, but here and then they say in the grand scheme this post will do nothing. I applaud your enthusiasm though. So saying that nothing will happen, they can't be held accountable because of X, Y, and Z. I've been here for 6 years, my friend. If you really did, you wouldn't be on here acting like this. I'm sorry you had a bad experience with sales. That's exactly what sales is, kind of dry. So they just keep pivoting to the fact that none of like just sales is like, yeah, this is what that is. Which is interesting because again, I don't think anybody's real complaint here is that the sales are too hard to do. It's just that the way you're doing them isn't best practice, and they would know that because I mean, I could probably make a couple calls and be directed to do the exact same thing. So definitely proof in the pudding for that. But like I said, it could vary by district. There could be some districts that are way better, some districts that are way worse. Simply put, I am no small fish, so this will not affect me nor touch me in any way. Obviously, I'm being selective with what I say for the same reason you made this post, because I know what really goes on behind the scenes. For example, I was one of the few people that was CC'd on the email about your post. Whoa, well that's interesting, because they said that they were CC'd in this. They're saying that they were CC'd in the original email, but I wonder if they got that kind of email. Then I wonder if they got CC'd in this email as well, because then that said that the director of authorized retail accounts, the account manager for the dealer channel, the VP of dealer accounts were also CC'd. So potentially that this anonymous poster could be potentially fucking allegedly So you left because it was toxic, right? But what you're doing here to someone who agreed with you, for the most part, being toxic and bringing up things that have nothing to do with your complaint, it's very clear that you were the issue here. And a lot of pivoting, a lot of shifting the blame. My pay, that's private information. I was going to show you to shut you up, but it seems you just like attention, so talking kind of vile. You would assume if you did run this company and you were in this corporate position, you probably wouldn't behave this way. I easily crack over 6 figures in a year. I know many RSMs who struggle to do that. I struggle to do that as an RSM. Boasting about their wealth, which is great. Good for you. Again, I've DM'd you personally. You still continue to argue with me about trivial things. So here's the attention that you want. Get mad at their yes men. But here you are garnering nothing but that. And you aren't a nobody. Oh, okay. So he's calling people a nobody. Sick ass dude lying through your teeth. We all know exactly who you are, man. Arch's reaction was to let you keep talking. I hope you know that. Ooh, interesting. Claiming to know more about the inner workings of this whole thing. You're a pawn, my friend. There's no chess move to be made. File a lawsuit. See how far it'll get you. I'm sure they have this kind of ego because, I mean, you can throw enough money at lawyers, and there's a lot of fall guys. And dude, I don't know. I think this whole thing is so insane. Talking about you. If you got hoes, that's on you, pal. Stick up for yourself. Not a good look. What are you tough for running to the internet? Handle your shit correctly. File a lawsuit. Maybe you can actually do some good. Which is also like interesting because they have had this since about 2 years now, but they only started responding or using their account when this was going on. So it does look like this was in result of some pushback from what ended up going on. So that's just a little bit deeper into this whole thing.
The commission structure. So it is a commission-only job with hourly pay as kind of a safety net, which is minimum wage of $15 an hour or $13 an hour after taxes. You get whichever's highest. Let's say, for example, you work about 30 hours at $15 an hour before taxes, netting you about $450 for that week. Let's also say that within that same week you made $1,000 in commission. Your actual payout would be negative $450 for the hours you worked. From the $1,000 commission that you actually attained, total payout for that week would be $550. Arch employees are paid out anything activated on the T-Mobile service. So most PBTS are worth $25, and phone lines are typically worth between $50 to $120 for each line added to the account. Some people have deemed this commission structure an unfair business practice, and I agree to a varying extent. To play devil's advocate a little bit, I would be unaware of the deeper corporate business model that could potentially justify this payment structure. But I do think it's worth mentioning because it does suck to have your hourly wages deducted from your commissions earned. These recent reports and articles have come out less than 2 months ago, but employees have more than likely been dealing with this for longer than that. In fact, I know they have. My confidence in the accuracy of these reports and their ongoing nature comes from my first-hand experience as a current employee. Having recently graduated, I have been searching for something substantial for a while now. Initially, I believe I had found something with what appeared to be a reputable company, and I had no experiences with third parties beforehand, and I was thinking it was the same thing either way. I dealt with shady selling practices before, but nothing ever to this extent. Multiple district managers fired or moved throughout the company for poor performances, my own hourly wages being deducted from my earned commission, which was not explained to me beforehand, and to top it off, the store maybe sees 5 to 10 customers a day if I'm lucky, so is very painful. On top of that whole thing, because of these selling techniques, often customers notice something is fishy and come to the store to return everything that they bought.
Yeah, I had to get the watch to be eligible for the $600 promotion, which was a crock of shit. Because I talked to T-Mobile and they're like, no, that's not the case. So I don't want this. And then it would also be $5 a month, and they're like, no, it's $15 a month. Anyway, I don't want this, the watch. I don't need it. If I took it, it's because she said it was a condition of the promotion.
It truly is too good to be true, and customers aren't as stupid as the company thinks they are. It used to work on people, but now people are starting to catch on. And to be honest, that's a good thing, even if it hurts me a little. This job is slow. I'm honestly on my phone like 8 hours a day. It's totally unrewarding, as any sales you do actually get, you feel very scummy and shady for doing so, and you always run the risk of having a chargeback occur, which could really derail an entire 2 weeks of pay. Nowadays, I see more return customers complaining that something is wrong with their accounts, but to be honest, I can't really just up and leave, as I'm poor and need the money, however little it may be. But also, I fostered a great relationship with my coworkers, and they are great people who believe that it's all a little bit shady as well. Unfortunately, sometimes it's all we got. Day in and day out, I'm routinely told and pressured to sell things that people do not need. These schemes and tricks are not what I signed up for at all. If I could slide under the radar and just give people exactly what they needed and make a living wage off it, I'd love to. But I'd likely be faced with termination. I have been looking for something substantial for a while now, but unfortunately nothing sticks. No callbacks, no interviews, hundreds of applications. I'm sure you guys know. These companies are well aware that young, motivated workers will often go above and beyond in their roles and use that to try to exploit their eagerness to advance their own interests. Unfortunately, I'm truly a fool in this game, but hopefully you aren't too. And that's a little bit of the story of Arch Telecom and their shady business practices. Thanks for watching.